Okay, so I just finished episode 5 of season 2 of Severance, and as usual, I have a lot to discuss. Got to speak quickly. So, the episode opens with an employee going down this long black corridor to a different elevator than the Audis use to get to the severance floor. This seems to be a different severed floor because we see an employee go in there, elevator goes down, and we hear the ding. That means that the Audis are transitioning to their innies, right? So I have two ways of thinking about this. So either one, that employee is like lives at Lumen and the upper floor is his home, his outside. And so when he goes in that elevator, he transitions to his innie, and his innie works on the floor below the one that they were on. Or two, sorry, I had to remember what two was. Two is that your transition can be activated in different places in the building. So his transition, like he comes in from the outside, takes that first elevator down, and then when he takes, because he doesn't work on that middle floor, I guess if you want to call it, he doesn't transition there. He transitions when he goes to the lower floor because that's where he actually works. So those are my two theories about that. Okay, so we have Helly finding out that Helena was posing as her on the severed floor. And she has a very large reaction. And she's talking about, like, she can't just use my body. Like, that's not okay. And so because we were introduced in this show to the Audis first and then the innies, I think a lot of us may think of the innies as like derivative of the Audis because they seem, I mean, their lives seem small because their whole existence is just being at work. And in this moment, remember I told you in one of my other videos that season 2, Dan said that season 2 is about adolescence for the innies, like they're growing up. So this is Helly saying, listen, I'm a person, I'm a human being, I have value, I have meaning. She can't just do whatever she wants. And so I love this because it's a staking of independence. And also I just want to say, and I said it in my last video, Britt Lower is a phenomenal actress because we have not seen any Helly all season. So now that we're seeing Helly, because Helly's the innie, all season. So now that we're seeing Helly, it's actually jarring because I had forgotten what Helly is like as compared to Helena. And what's interesting is when we see Helena is like so incredibly like controlled and rigid and, you know, just always in control. And when you see Helly like curses all the time. She is very reactive. And it's almost like Helly is really who Helena wants to be. And that's why she was so willing to go down to the severed floor in the first place. So now we're seeing this conversation. And I love this photo because since Helly's reflected in the mirror, it's almost like it's 2 against 1, which is having this conversation with Mark. So, and I meant to say this in my other video, but I forgot. So Helly is saying to Mark, okay, you couldn't tell that wasn't me? Like, motherfucker, how are you supposed to be in love with me and you can't tell when I'm not me? The fuck? And Helly, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That don't make no damn sense that he didn't know that was you. And I just want to say really quickly, this scene in the elevator between these two, I'm telling you, this cast be acting down. I absolutely loved because Milchick says during his performance review, I'm going to tighten the leash. Milchick says to Mark, he said, listen, Did you and Helly reconnect? Did you tell her that you fucked her outie during the retreat? He said, don't play with me, Mark. Don't motherfucking play with me. Now, this is the best part of the video. If you don't watch anything else, watch this. Now let's get to my Miss Huang theory. My Miss Huang theory is, she says in this conversation with Milchick, Seth, may I say a question? And I thought, that's odd. Say as opposed to ask. So my theory is that it's possible that Miss Huang was born at Lumen. And she has lived her whole life there. And so that's why they trust her with being some sort of supervisor when she's literally like, what, 9, 10? And then remember when in I think the season premiere, they said, why are you a child? And she said, because of when I was born. Think. And this also could just be that she's just supposed to be young and she said the wrong thing. I don't think that's it though. Let me know what you think about that theory in the comment. God, this is a gorgeous photo. These photos from Apple TV, just the way everything is so sleek and perfect, obsessed with it. But anyway, so Mark is still like trying to reintegrate. We're being reminded he's not completely reintegrated. He's just seeing flashes. So the very end of the episode, he sees this flash of his wife, Gemma, because even before this season started, I hosted some spaces on Twitter about Severance, and somebody that was in the space had a theory that this is not actually Gemma, the person, that this is possibly a clone of her, which I think is a pretty solid theory. So, this thought that like Lumen went and got her DNA, Gemma's DNA from the accident and made a clone of her. And that's who this is. And Gemma, the actual Gemma, is actually dead. So Mark turns around and just for maybe 5 seconds, I don't even know if it was that long, sees Gemma. And then she disappears. He's back in his house. And you just see that tear come down. I'm telling you, Adam Scott, everybody be acting down on this show. And just the look on his face where it's like a mixture of shock, grief, everything. You just see everything on his face. And, we kind of got spared from really dealing with Mark's grief over losing Gemma season 1, because we're learning this world of Lumen and we're learning the world of the Innies. But now there's more outie time that we're seeing. And now we're kind of dealing with grief more, and grief is being talked about more. And what has really resonated for me with this final scene is, even if I could see my grandmother again for 5 seconds, and that's all I get, and I would never see her again, I would take those 5 seconds. No words spoken, just to see her, I would take it. So this video is way longer. I tried to shorten it, but this show, there's just so much to talk about. So leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time.